Good morning and welcome to Namaste today, a delightful way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the sensei to serious joy, Stepº0. This audio blogcast is for Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. Happy Hump Day and Namaste. Well, today is not only the middle of the week, but this is also the middle of your life. By Hump Day, I believe we're going to go trans-dimensional today, and in your zodiac weather, I'll talk about how the planets line up at 0 degrees. Then later in your tea time, I'll talk about the power of this step 0 and how Pluto himself is going retrograde in 24 hours. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. And my forecast for the global Earth consciousness is sunny, but yet detached. We go through a dimensional shift today, beginning at step 29 and ending with step 0. And the moon is in Aquarius, the sign of dimensional shifting. Let's take a look at the planets. Well, my friend, hump day is the best word for it. We are on a huge speed bump hump today between step 29 Aries and step 0 Taurus. Let's start with the 29. As we wake up today, you may feel tested. You may feel tested on every lesson you learned during Aries. That's what I've been experiencing personally. Nearly every ego issue, battle, sticky, icky that I have felt in the last 30 days have begun to play out as soon as step 29 came into play. So this is kind of like sliding into home base. You're going for the, to get the score, you're going for the touchdown. Whatever it is you kind of like line it up for, this is kind of how it feels the first half of the day. Now, don't be judgmental of yourself. Don't feel bad if something is not working. This is only a test, says the universe, a test of your new character and of your new willpower. Take notes of what things you want to change. Now, the moon is in Aquarius for the entire day, particularly in the morning, and that's really what sets up the fire. Because emotions in Aquarius means you get to this point in yourself, you're like, well, I'm just not going to deal with that. You just find that place in yourself that just goes, no, and shuts down, goes cold, goes possum. And it's because that we go cold inside and detach from the situation. That's how our ego, Aries, step 29, may go too far. So it might be a bit of a surprise where you end up snapping or barking or slipping or whatnot, simply because you're out of touch with your emotion. But considering where we're going here in the next part of the day, I think we all want to be a little bit detached. We are shifting our dimensions and we are shifting into the land of step 0. At around 5 p.m. Eastern Time or 2 p.m. Pacific, the sun will shift to step 0, Taurus. And what's interesting is Mercury retrograde, which is still in effect, will also be at step 0 Taurus. So our hearts and our minds come together at step 0. What this means is basically a vortex. Whenever you see planets coming together at 0, they're going through a dimensional shift. Now, interesting thing also is the moon in Aquarius. Aquarius really is the channel changer. In fact, I believe the truth is that the way we go through the emotional shift is that our feelings will change about something once this step 0 energy happens. So in simple terms, as soon as we shift to step 0, things will probably get very spacey. The whole world will kind of get quiet. You'll get detached from yourself. You get detached from others. And don't worry, everyone else is detached also. What's beginning to happen is you're going to change your boundaries about what you think and what you don't think. And it's a boundary change because of step 0. In simple terms, as we move into step 0, you're going to begin to shift your consciousness to what it is you want to manifest. But in more profound and deep transdimensional terms, you're probably going to change the playing field in which you manifest. And with that said, this is the perfect way to transition to our tea time. So go steep yourself some tea and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the power of 0. And this, of course, refers to my life's work, the 11 Steps to Serious Joy, Step 0 is a powerful step, I have realized, or put simply, the 0 degree. When planets reach a 0 degree, it's much more powerful than it appears. It appears as 0, but that 0 is a mask, my friend. It's a vortex. It's an opening to the other side, and it's an allowance for energy to cross between. Now, in our particular case, we're going through a bit of a step 0 vortex at sunset tonight as the Sun and Mercury conjunct at step 0 Taurus. In simple terms, this means that we are going to be in a 24-hour period where we maybe redraw the map. You're going to redraw the map about what it is you value, Taurus, what it is you want to manifest next, Taurus, and it may just be that you erase the old map, but I don't think so. I think most people are going to come to terms with a new map inside themselves. Now, up until now, we've had the Sun in Aries, and so we've been working very hard on our personal stories and our personal character, our personal willpower, and our strength. That's what this entire Aries transit has been about. And because of Uranus in Aries, it is very difficult. It's the most challenging part of being a human right now on Earth. So Aries is kind of the character, and if your life is a story, if your life is a movie, Aries is the character in the movie. So we've all just figured out who the character in the movie is. Now that we go with Mercury retrograde in step 0 vortex of Taurus, the question is, what's going to be the movie? Literally, the question opening up is, what should the production be? That's what Taurus energy is the production. It is the production in which that star character plays a star role inside. And so it's really the question of what should the production be? What should we produce? What should we make? That is the question on Twilight Tonight at step 0. Now, for most years in Taurus, whenever we go to Taurus, we kind of move on to the next scene in our production, or we move on to the next act of our production. But in this particular year, looking at all the planets, we're questioning a whole brand new spanking production. In my last Friday show, I coined this production as the golden egg. By golden egg, I mean this is a heartfelt creation or production coming from your soul. It's a production or a creation that only now, at this moment of awareness, were you even capable of producing it. It's a part of your destiny because of Saturn conjuncting the galactic center retrograde at 27 degrees. And as a part of your destiny and part of the story you were born to live. And this golden egg, this production, the production in which the character is going to star in, this will probably be created now. In other words, in Taurus, we will be planting the seeds and looking at all the planets, including the solar eclipse in Leo. It will come to its first little sprouts in August. So this next 24-hour period of step 0 is a huge dimensional shift. We are taking this new character and we are putting them into a new story, of which is a new production, and a production based out of our heart, and a production based on us being the latest and greatest that we've ever been. Now, the actual selection of the production really comes down to your feelings. The moon is in Aquarius, and as the moon climbs up Aquarius, basically your emotions are feeling this way and feeling that way. And the first thing you will feel is, I don't feel I belong here in this place, in this world. I don't feel like I belong in that production, such as another round of soap operas. Okay. And by the end of the transit, which is around, sunset tomorrow, you'll be feeling, and I feel like I belong in that production over there. So this whole step 0 vortex is really you feeling from one place to feeling to the next. And just for the Sensei record, it is always a shift in our feelings that really triggers a shift in our dimensions and what we actually do. Now, after today, the Sun continues forward in Taurus and Mercury continues backwards back into Aries. That means after this dimensional shift, after you feel like you might belong in a new production that you haven't been in before, or returning to an old one, whatever you happen to believe, at that point your heart has to explore the possibilities of whether or not it's valid. At the same time, Mercury then goes retrograding back into Aries, the tough energy we literally just got rid of this morning. Okay? And what that means is now that you have come through the triumphs of your character and your growth, your mind will go back over the next 10 days or so until May 4th when Mercury goes direct. Your mind will go back and go, okay, well, if I'm going to be in this production, I might need to make these rewrites to my character script. So you'll be making some changes in your character, some changes in your character direction, not based on character itself, but based on the production you are seeing yourself in next. So we're doing a lot of rewriting as Mercury continues retrograde. And just for the record, when I say production, it can come in 1,000 different forms. The most popular are producing a house, producing a job, producing a lover, producing a partner, producing a project, producing a book, producing a child. It'll be some sort of production, some sort of thing that you find yourself starring into, in which you are creating something from your heart. Again, that starts to sprout in August. Now, one interesting thing today is that the ruler of step 0 is Pluto. And as the Sun and Mercury cross, as soon as they're done crossing, Pluto goes retrograde. So you could say this 0 crossing is the last 0 crossing for 6 months. When Pluto is direct, it's basically pushing us to break down walls and break through obstacles and limitations that we've had on ourselves. And so when Pluto is direct, it's just constant jackhammering, and nothing really quite feels stable because there's always this sort of moving steamroller towards you, which is Pluto. You got to keep opening, you got to keep opening up. When Pluto goes retrograde, thank goddess, it is definitely a moment of peace. We no longer have to be exposed to new boundaries or new obstacles or the unknown. Instead, now we actually reap the rewards of the boundary work we did or didn't do when Pluto was direct. So we end up fortifying those old boundaries. We end up finding where there's little cracks in those old boundaries. We end up modifying real little bit and refining where those boundaries are for the next 6 months. So just so you know, Pluto went direct in September of 2016, September 27th, and it has been pushing ahead in Capricorn, which means our boundaries about what the rules are in our life, Capricorn, the rules, our boundaries about the decisions we make, they've all been knocked down continuously. And I think the national election in the United States was evidence of that alone. All the rules of politics and elections, everything got knocked down. We still haven't seen the results of all that. And now that Pluto goes retrograde, we'll start to see the results of those changed quote-quote rules. So technically, the last rules you're going to change for 6 months will be the rules you've had with yourself about what kind of production you will be in or don't be in. You could say of how you've thought yourself or opened up to the idea, Mercury, of yourself in this or that. At this stage, we're not talking commitment. We're talking opening up or not opening up to new ideas of the productions that you want to produce on the planet. My last little clue to you, my friend, is your heart knows the answer. So as far as where you belong, your heart knows. The production you want to be in, your heart knows. The man or woman you have to be, your heart will know. So in this vortex, I encourage you to listen to your heart at least once or twice as you are going through the scales of belonging. All right, my friend, well, that's all I have for today. I want to remind you we have a group of people who all belong. They're viewers of Namaste Today, and we all collectively kind of hang out on Facebook. If you'd like to be a part of our Facebook club, come on down to namastetoday.club. All right, I will see you in 24 hours with more on the other side of the vortex, my friend. Until then, remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
Live, love, be.